Hi everybody and welcome to Run Tall with Tim. I'm Tim. I'm glad you're here and we get to spend a little time together. On today's video, I've got two daily trainers going head to head in a shoe battle. It's the Asics Novablast 2 versus the Hoka Mach 4. Now this is going to be a really fun shoe battle because both of these shoes are considered to be best in class. But before I get into it too far, I always like to demonstrate what it looks like to run in the shoes that I'm about to review for you. So let's do that. But then when we come back together, I'm going to be putting the Asics Novablast 2 up against the Hoka Mach 4 in a head-to-head battle where we'll be looking at both the similarities, the differences, the performance, and what it's like to run in these shoes. And I will pick a winner at the end of the video.
She was in love with a boy, in love with a girl, so in love with the world, so beautiful. She was in love with the night, the way the sun shines. All she needed was love to have to hold, and nobody could make her feel down. She was always smiling from ear to ear, and everybody wondered if round would she ever know the feeling of tears. All she said to them was live your life just like you're young again. No, don't you cry, just get back up again. Cause if you wanna laugh, then live it better. If you want love, then stay together. If you wanna smile, then be forever. She was the curious kind, to hate she was blind, always love on her mind, just come on me. She couldn't quite figure out what fear's all about, so she put it aside, all night, all day. And everybody talked about her, said there must be something wrong with this girl. All she said to them was live your life just like you're young again. No, don't you cry, just get back up again. Cause if you wanna laugh, then live it better. If you want love, then stay together. If you wanna smile, then be forever. And nobody can make her feel down. She was always smiling from ear to ear, baby. And everybody.
Now this video is not intended to be a full review of either shoe, but if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description below to reviews that I've completed for each one previously. Now both of these shoes cost $130 US. They're neutral road shoes that I ordered true to size. The big difference is going to be in the weight. With the Hoka Mach 4, they came in at 8 ounces for a men's size 9 on my scales, or 226 grams, while the Asics Novablast 2 are considerably heavier. They came in at 9.6 ounces or 273 grams. So round one for weight goes to the Hoka Mach 4. If you're new to the channel, I post running shoe reviews, comparisons, and shoe battles weekly, but I also like to post other videos about running as well. So if you enjoy watching running shoe reviews and other videos related to running, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time that I upload new content. So now let's talk about round two, and that's the upper and the fit. I'm going to start with the Hoka Mach 4 first. Here they used an engineered mesh material. You can see that they have plenty of perforations up in the toe box, lots of room to display my toes. As we work our way around to the side of the shoe, you can see that they have their Hoka logo here in the midfoot section. They also have this plastic that starts around the midfoot section of the shoe. Now this is the lateral side of the shoe, and you can see that it wraps all the way around the heel and through to the medial side of the shoe, which gives it a little extra stability, especially in that heel counter area, but also a little bit of structure to the upper as well. Now we're going to compare that with the Asics Novablast. Here they use a double jacquard mesh material. Both are really lightweight. They're cool and comfortable to run in. The big difference here is they have these big wide perforations up in the toe box. They're not as many as there are in Hoka Mach 4, but they're just a little bit bigger. Still adds or continues to give you a lot of airflow and comfort as you run. And then as we look around to the side of the shoe, you can see that they have their Asics logo here along the midfoot section of the shoe. And then around in the back, you can see that they have these plastic TPU clips as well, again giving it a little bit of stability. So in terms of comfort and fit, the biggest difference for me fell across the midfoot section of the shoe, with the Asics Novablast feeling just a little bit more form-fitting, and I prefer that feeling over the little bit more of a loose feeling in a Hoka Mach 4. So round 2 for the fit of the upper goes to the Asics Novablast 2. Now both of these shoes feature a classic or standard lace enclosure system and eyelet chain. We can see with the Hoka Mach 4 that there's really no craziness going on here. They've got some plastic overlay on the outside as well as on the inside cage area. They do have that extra eyelet in case you want to run with a runner's knot. And that same holds true for the Asics Novablast 2. Here you can see that they too have that classic or standard eyelet chain and lace enclosure system with that extra eyelet in case you want to run with a runner's knot. The biggest difference for me is at the start of the lace enclosure system with the Asics Novablast 2, they've got these little bit of notches here, and for me that helps to reduce or eliminate the pucker that I can sometimes get up in the start at the eyelet chain, so I appreciate that. While the Hoka Mach 4, now they do have this little extra loop that's down there that serves somewhat of a similar purpose, but I found that the Asics Novablast 2, those notches do just a little bit better job of reducing that pucker around that area. So I'm going to give the eyelet chain and lace enclosure system to the Asics Novablast 2. Checking out the tongue on each of these. Now, with the Hoka Mach 4, you can see that they've got lots of perforations up in the tongue. It's also moderately padded. They do feature semi-gussets on each side, so you don't have to worry about it migrating around. It's going to stay in place. No issues with it that way at all. And then with the Asics Novablast 2, as we check that out, again, lots of perforations in the material of the tongue. They too feature a semi-gusset on each side. So again, you don't have to worry about the tongue migrating around. I think in this case, I'm just going to call the tongue and the comfort there a tie. So looking at the padding around the heel collar and the tab, I'll start with the Mach 4. You know, they've got plenty of it. There's lots of padding up around the heel collar. And then, of course, they've got this extended heel flare here in the back for your Achilles to rest in, and that feels really comfortable. With the Novablast, I'd say they have just about the equivalent amount of padding around the heel collar as well as the tab, although they have a much more classic design to that heel counter, so it does not feature a heel flare. But they do have this pull tab here that can help you get your shoes on should you wish to use that. Between the two, I prefer the Hoka Mach 4. I like that extended Achilles heel flare here. I think that just feels really comfortable. Now, it doesn't have that extra pull tab, but you can use this to help get your shoes on. Looking at the heel counter on each of these, I'm going to check out the structure. This is the Mach 4. As I give it the pinch test, you can see that there's lots of structural material there. And then as I try to push forward, there is plenty of material there as well. Now that creates a nice stable feeling for your heel when you're out running. With the Novablast 2, they too have lots of structure in that heel counter. They've got those extra TPU clips along the side that give it a little extra stability for your heel. But plus, also as I push forward on it, you can see that they have lots of structure when I go in that direction as well. Each one have a well-defined heel pocket for you to set in. I didn't have slippage in either one, so I'm going to call the heel counter on each of these a tie. So let's take a look at the midsole, or what I often call the engine of the shoe, and there's some big differences here. So I'm starting with the Hoka Mach 4 first. Here they have two different types of foam that's underfoot. The first layer is their ProFly foam, which is their softer, more responsive foam. And then underneath that, they have a rubberized EVA material that's much more dense and durable that also acts as their outsole. So they have no additional rubber on their outsole at all. They're relying solely on that rubberized EVA foam to do the job for them. They have plenty of foam. They have about 29 millimeter stack height in the heel and 24 millimeters up in the forefoot for a 5 millimeter offset from the heel to the toe. They also feature an early stage meta rocker design, which is a pretty aggressive curve. What that simply means is they start sculpting that foam right about at the start of your metatarsal head, and then you can see how aggressive it is there. Now that's to allow you to move through your gait cycle a little quicker and a little faster. In the heel area, you can see that they have this extended heel, so they brought out that ProFly foam and that more dense rubberized EVA foam past the heel quite a ways. So if you're a heel striker, it gives you a little something to land on to help cushion you as you move through your gait cycle. And then they have the swallowtail design here as well. Now that's to give you a little more stability, I think, as you move through your gait cycle. So depending on which side of your heel that you might strike on, it's going to give you a little bit of flexibility just to make it feel a little more natural and smooth as you move through your gait cycle. So let's take a look at the Novablast 2. Now here they have their Flight Foam Blast material from the heel to the toe. They've got about the same amount of foam underfoot. They have 30 millimeter stack height in the heel and 22 millimeters up in the forefoot. So they have an 8 millimeter offset compared to the 5 millimeters we just looked at in the Hoka Mach 4. It's really soft. It's comfortable. There's a lot of energy return that you're getting here. Now, a big part of that is that Flight Foam Blast material and how they sculpted or cut these geometric shapes into the foam itself that allows you to compress pretty quickly but not get lost in all that foam. It gives you a lot of energy return back as you move through your gait cycle. They too have a pretty aggressive rocker design here. Now, they don't call it an early stage meta rocker, but it's pretty equivalent to what we just looked at on the Hoka Mach 4. And then in the heel design, it's pretty similar. We can see that they too have this somewhat of a swallowtail design here. And again, that's to give you a little bit more of a natural feeling. It doesn't really matter which side of the heel you might land on. It's going to give it a little bit of give and just help you move through the gait cycle just a little bit more smoothly. So between these two, I found that the Hoka Mach 4 has a much more responsive feeling. It's not nearly as cushioned as it is in the Asics Novablast, but they do feel fast. So if you're looking for a shoe that has a lot of ground contact, I think the Hoka Mach 4 is a great choice for that. But as a daily trainer, about 80% of my miles are at a more moderate or slower pace. You're just really logging in some miles. So the Asics Novablast, I think, fits really well for that category. Now, while both shoes, you can pick up the pace. The Novablast, that Flight Foam Blast material, is really responsive. You get a lot of energy return and pop as you move through, in part because they have this trampoline design here. And you can see as we look at the Novablast 2, how they have this kind of pod or an island up here in the center that allows a little bit of pop off your toe. And then as we work our way back around to the heel, you can see that they have this pretty deep groove that gives you somewhat of a trampoline effect. So as you compress that material, it just kind of pops you forward as you move through your gait. And then with the Hoka Mach 4, it's pretty similar. Now, while they don't have that island up in the forefoot, they do have a pretty deep groove there in the midsection of the heel area. So really from the midfoot back to the heel. So again, that gives you a bit of a trampoline effect. Between these two shoes, as a daily trainer for the performance and the ride, I got to go with the Asics Novablast 2. They're really comfortable. I like that softer feeling up in the midfoot. And when I'm just logging a lot of miles, when I'm looking between these two shoes, 80% of the time, I'm probably more likely to pick up the Asics Novablast 2 simply because of the comfort factor and that smooth ride that I get as I move through my gait cycle. On faster paced days, then the Hoka Mach 4 is a great choice for that. Turning now and looking at the outsole. Now, I've had both of these shoes in identical conditions out at my state park, so I've had them both on hard-packed dirt trails as well as some more rustic trails, pavement, concrete, so all kinds of weather conditions, both wet and dry. Now with the Hoka Mach 4, and even though they don't have any additional rubber material on the outsole, they're relying solely on that more dense rubberized EVA foam to do the job for them. As you can see, I don't have any real signs of wear anywhere on that outsole material to speak of, and they felt like they did a good job keeping me safe and secure to the road. I didn't feel like I was unsafe ever running in those shoes. Now with the Asics Novablast 2, they feature their AHAR Plus rubber. Now that stands for the Asics High Abrasion Rubber. The plus means that they're 50% more durable than the rubber that they used in other shoes that they call their AHAR. And there's plenty of it. They cover up basically all of that Flight Foam Blast material that would have any kind of ground contact. And I felt like these did a great job in keeping me safe and secure when I was out running. So I'm just going to call the outsole material a tie. So I knew this one was going to be close. It was going to be a tough shoe battle. 2 rounds went to the Hoka Mach 4, 3 rounds went to the Asics Novablast 2, and 3 rounds were a tie. It really came down to that ride of the midsole. With the Asics Novablast 2, they're just a little bit more soft or cushioned, so it gives you a little bit more comfort as you move through your gait cycle. And for 80% of the time when I'm just out logging a lot of miles, that's the shoe that I'm going to want to pick up and put on my feet. Doesn't mean that the Hoka Mach 4 isn't a great shoe, because if I want to pick up the pace, I think that's a better choice. But for a daily trainer, for this battle, I'm going with the Asics Novablast 2. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
She was in love with a boy,